What makes a watch a good watch? I mean, objectively. Set aside brand notoriety, history, prestige. Which features make a watch desirable to you? When I'm looking for a dive watch, I want a robust build, solid depth rating, and most importantly, lume. The Zelos Mako checks these boxes and more, so let's get into some specs. The Zelos Mako has a case diameter of 40 millimeters, a lug-to-lug of 46 millimeters, a thickness of about 14 millimeters including the vintage style box crystal and 11.5 millimeters without, a water resistance of 300 meters, a lumed fully graduated unidirectional ceramic bezel, textured full lume dial with C3X1 and BGW9 lume, a signed and lumed screw down crown at 4 o'clock, lug width of 20 millimeters with a bracelet that tapers down to 16 millimeters at the clasp, which features on-the-fly micro adjustment, a Miyota 9015 movement supporting a 6 o'clock date, which is where the date belongs, all coming in at a retail price of $499 upon release. Alright, now for some highlights. First and foremost, the Mako is just a ton of fun. The full lume dial with the lume bezel and crown is a completely insane combo that panders directly to my inner child. And for those of you that were not familiar with the Singapore-based brand Zelos, they have built a reputation around their unconventional design language and excellent application of lume. While the Mako is one of the more conventional designs they produce, the lume sets it apart as uniquely Zelos. In contrast to the playful aesthetic of the Mako, a quick glance at the spec sheet will reveal a serious dive watch and certified spec monster. At a retail price of only $500, Zelos was able to pack the Mako with 300 meters of water resistance, a lumed ceramic bezel, and a clasp with on-the-fly micro adjust. I highlight these three key features specifically because my Black Bay 58, which is about 8 times the price, does not have any of them. Alright, now for some lowlights. I know I just spent several minutes talking about how incredible this watch is for $500, and it is. However, there had to be compromises somewhere to achieve that price point. As a Singapore-based brand, the manufacturing process likely doesn't meet the extremely tight tolerances you might find on higher-end Swiss, Japanese, and German manufactured watches. On my Zelos, this is manifested in an end link that doesn't fit absolutely perfectly, which makes it a real bitch to get the spring bar notched into the holes in the lugs. When switching back from a NATO to the bracelet, I have to set the spring bar and end link with my tweezers, then come back with the spring bar tool to maneuver the spring bar end into position. Additionally, I have had bracelet screws back out through regular wear, and I've actually had the watch fall off my wrist when a screw came out. Granted, it does take a while for a screw to back out, so periodic eyeball checks of screw positions can easily mitigate this. That being said, I do feel that my gripes with the Zelos are relatively minor and totally acceptable for the price point. If you strip away all preconceptions as it pertains to watch brands and associated status, you'll recognize that Zelos is selling fun and interesting watches with an impressive spec sheet for not a ton of money. At the end of the day, I think that's really what most watch enthusiasts are looking for. We want to throw a watch on that makes us feel something before we then go out and experience something. Thank you all for checking out my video. Please like and subscribe. That would help me out a bunch. Also, feel free to comment below about your thoughts on the Zelos and some of the alternatives. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.